Chapter 19 Basement X. In his private quarters deep in the base, Sebastian finished his supper while a TV station streamed world news on a large, wall-mounted OLED screen. Sebastian liked to watch the news. Sometimes he, or rather his corporation, featured heavily, sometimes just heat waves, snowstorms, bank crashes or sports news reigned high in people's attention spans. But irrespective, the world news was always entertaining, mostly due to the veneer of truth it offered. Sebastian loved the double standard of an unbiased press. Someone always owned the press and media no matter how much they espoused on the principles of professional journalism. Truth and accuracy. Independence. Fairness and impartiality. Humanity. Accountability. The irony here was the number of principles of journalism themselves could be considered anything between 5 and 9, depending on where you looked for a definition. Sebastian smiled to himself. He was glad he'd bought several media companies over the years. They provided a foil to the ones he did not own. The ownerships of these companies were buried deep in shell companies, mergers and buyouts going back 15 to 20 years. The facts could be unpicked with a forensic analysis by accountants and lawyers, but in truth they each operated independently and often contradicted each other in the telling of their stories from such diverse perspectives that a cursory glance would show that the media really was free. The reason Sepulchre had bought into media was the same it bought into anything: control. Control of the media meant that if any of their projects were uncovered, so many stories could be told that the public would have no idea if one or in fact any were true, the perfect disguise. He smiled again as Mustapha entered carrying a small drone. "Mr. Sollers, here is the new drone I told you about earlier." "Excellent, Mustapha, it looks wonderful. What are its specifications?" "Would you prefer an actual demonstration to the list of items, sir?" "Of course, Mustapha, excellent idea. I will launch the drone from the southern entrance and proceed from there." A technician arrived and collected the drone in order to place it at the southern entrance for launch. Mustapha could fly the drone with a headset at pretty much any range due to a combination of wireless and satellite communications. Wireless was the preference, but when required the satellite link could take over, giving the drone a range limited only by battery capacity. Within 5 minutes the drone was ready to launch. A vocal command by Mustapha started the southern entrance opening procedure, similar to the main iris of the helicopter shaft, but on a much smaller scale. This was an entrance for small vehicles only. As the drone flew, multiple cameras relayed pictures to several screens in Sebastian's quarters. As well as live video feed, there was telemetry and ground position. The drone was fast. The images, though HD, were zipping past on the screens almost faster than they could be perceived. "You are as good a pilot as a designer, Mustapha. Congratulations. You have done an excellent job. What are your expectations for the drone?" Mustapha stared into space via the visor, flying the drone as much on instinct as conscious decision. "I was hoping to show it to the technical division of Sepulchre and see if it was of any use to them." "Superb idea, Mustapha. I'll recommend it myself. Now show me some tricks." "Yes, sir. First I will demonstrate auto patrol mode." Mustapha set the drone on autopilot patrol mode, staying a certain height and distance from a point of interest, in this case the base itself. The onboard video processors would handle obstacle detection as well as abnormal activity. Sebastian watched intently as the drone tracked a perfect circle around the base, rising and falling as it followed the sandy terrain below. Though not expecting to find anything suspicious, the abnormal activity alarm bleeped just once. "What is that, Mustapha?" asked Sebastian. "It is an abnormal activity alarm, sir. The onboard systems have detected something out of the ordinary." "What do we know?" asked Sebastian. After reviewing the last 30 seconds video footage, Mustapha located the period of concern. "Sir, it appears there was a disturbance on the sand which set off the alarm. I believe it was a false alarm, quite literally." "Excellent news, Mustapha. Your system works well. I wish you best of luck. Now come take a drink with me while we discuss the Grecian issue further." As they walked away, the drone autopiloted back to the southern entrance and landed on the floor before shutting itself down. As there was no one there was no one to see a small beetle-sized creature scurry across the floor just as the door closed.